Third game of the NBA season. Phoenix Suns on the road, completing the back end of a 2-game road trip. Go to Los Angeles, go to the Crypto.com arena, where I didn't realize this, Matthew, but outside of the playoffs, the Phoenix Suns had not won in there since like 2014. Did you know that?
Is that true? Wow, I actually had no idea. Especially going back that far when the Clippers sucked too. Well, then I guess the Suns sucked too at the same time. So it makes sense now. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the streak is over. The Phoenix Suns win 112-95 over the Los Angeles Clippers on a Sunday night. A nice end to the weekend. I think that we all were wondering if the Suns could complete. And, I mean, right off the bat, 11-0 run to start the game. They never trailed in the game. It's fun watching those kind of games, especially when it's the Clippers, right?
Yeah, especially coming off a game where they probably should have beat the Trailblazers. That one kind of got away from them. Now they came out there. It's kind of like a revenge game in a way where, even like last year, they hate losing. This year, they're the same exact team. If they know they're supposed to beat a team before, they're going to come out and make the other team have to pay for it. And that's what they did tonight. It was an easier win, but it was super hard fought just to get that big lead. Great game tonight, man.
Yeah, it's as you mentioned, this team easily could be 3-0. And after what happened in Portland, you were hoping that they would come in focus. And that's definitely what you saw on both ends of the floor. So definitely to kind of a lot of things that we're going to be breaking down on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. So first and foremost, thank you and welcome to another edition, another post-game podcast with John and Matthew Jam, the Suns Jam Session podcast. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review wherever you're consuming this content. If you're watching along on YouTube, down below, hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate it. If you're listening, leave us a review, all that fun stuff. It helps with analytics or something. Lets other people know, hey, when the game's over, you know where to come hang out. That's with John and Matthew, because we're going to give you some grade A analysis. Grade A. I don't like fantastic, like the best analysis that two fans. Did you see that whole Warriors Locked On podcast thing on Twitter?
I did see that. Yeah, that was a really random, weird take.
Yeah.
I don't understand that because, I don't know. I didn't understand it at all. I just feel like everyone starts out kind of the same way. I mean, it wasn't something where it's just like, you have to go to school for. If you don't go to school and actually have a real job doing this thing, then they had issues with it. Like, I didn't understand it.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't on Twitter, get on Twitter. But the Locked On Warriors podcast, and Locked On has every team covered. They have a Locked On Suns podcast. Brendan Clean, he's the one who runs that. But essentially, they had the two guys on Twitter, and they're like, people who are fans who have podcasts shouldn't be doing podcasts because they don't have access to the team. If you want real content, you don't listen to them. So every time you come here and you press like, it's actually a middle finger to those guys.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's like, I don't need a degree to do this. It's just two guys who want to sit around, drink beers, and talk about the Phoenix Suns. That's what this podcast is. And if they don't like it, they can get bent, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they just have issues with they're not getting enough listeners. It just seems like,
they do now.
Just kind of got aired out. Yeah, they do now. They're very popular now, man. Yeah. Kind of broke the internet there.
Yeah, seriously. Everybody's tuning in to tell them to get fucked. So on that note, Matthew, it's a Sunday night. You drinking some holy water tonight? What are you drinking?
Oh, man, I should be. After last night, I'm just drinking water. Staying hydrated, man.
Well, I've got this delicious double Indian Pale Ale. It's called Citra Ass Down. You got to try this stuff. It's so delicious. Nice. I'm going to pop one open right now for everybody. Pop them if you got them, Suns fans. Let's talk about a win over the Clippers, huh? 2-1 Phoenix Suns, baby. The chat is already popping off, so thank you to everybody who is joining us live after the game to watch. And again, if you're listening later, no big deal. We appreciate you doing that too. First question of the night, Matthew.
Matthew, I got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask, how many times do the Clippers make quarter-ending buzzer beater shots against the Phoenix Suns?
Well, it's not just them. I think it's every team, right?
But the Clippers in particular. I feel like it's always the Clippers, like Nicholas Batum at the end of the first quarter. You know, Suns are smoking them, and then Nicholas Batum hits like a half-court three. I'm like, fucking A again.
That happens to the Suns all the time, and I think that when I think about those things going in, I always think of you. Like every time I always think of John.
Because you know what
like,
makes me mad.
Stop. Yeah, because we can never get our 2-for-1s at the end. We're so bad at that still. But we always get hit with those buzzer beaters. And it's not like it's a big momentum boost, but sometimes they are. Tonight it really kind of wasn't. It was like their one great play from the Clippers. But dude, I think about you all the time when that happens.
Well, it's funny. I actually posed that question on Twitter, and shout out to So Says Jay from the Fan in the Flames podcast. He hopped right on to stathead.com, which is an offshoot of Basketball Reference. He looked it up, put parameters around it, and if you include 3 seconds or less shots by the opposition, the Clippers alone have done it, I think, 15 times or 16 times what he came up with since 2015. So it goes to show you, I'm not just paranoid when I get all pissed off about this. Like, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. To your point, though, Matthew, you know, it didn't really matter because of the way that the Phoenix Suns came out in this game and dominated that first quarter against the Los Angeles Clippers. The Suns shot 60.9% from the field, which was 14 of 23, including 4 of 10 from beyond the arc in the first quarter, to the Clippers 7 of 20 from the field, 35%. And they were 1 for 7 from beyond the arc. And that one was that Nicholas Batum half quarter to end the first quarter. They outscored him 33-18 and didn't look back in this game.
Yeah, the game started the way it finished. And a lot of times in the NBA, it's such a long game, you know, leads don't matter. You can be up 30 and the team has no problem coming back nowadays. But tonight it just kind of stayed that way. And I think a lot of it had to do with the bench, where they came in and played physical along with the starters. Mikal Bridges, everyone on the defensive end looked really good against Paul George. Kawhi Leonard didn't come into the second quarter, but you know, you had that matchup between Mikal and Paul George where it got started good. Like, he drew the foul on Paul George, and then after that, like, he had the nice block from behind, but that kind of like set the tone. It really did. There's still a few players within the Suns starting lineup and even off the bench that are having a hard time at times passing the ball. We'll talk about them later. But the defense itself is really what held this victory for the Suns. It was. And when you think about the Clippers, you think about defense. And it's nice to go up against the Clippers and just know, like, hey, we can actually go head to head with this team who isn't completely like the healthy team. They don't have the chemistry yet, so they have to build that this season. But that's their own problem. Like, the Suns already have that. So this is like what it's going to look like when the Suns go head to head with them. Something if they're in the playoffs against each other, because it's going to be a defensive battle. And right now the Suns are looking good on that end.
100%. And, you know, this is only the third game of the season for both teams. And, you know, both exit this game with a 2-1 record. And to your point, Matthew, as the season progresses, when we see this team later in the season, it will be a different version of the Clippers, to your point, because they're going to have some of that chemistry. But again, to your point, I really was honed in on the defense and impressed with the defensive intensity that the Phoenix Suns played with tonight. You know, that's what built that lead in the first quarter and the first half. I mean, by halftime, they were up by 20. And it's because they had plenty of those one and done possessions for the Clippers in the first half. And that was the most exciting thing because, you know, the Clippers, they're known for playing that 5 out, and their bench is deep, obviously. When you got John Wall and Kawhi Leonard coming in off the bench, because they're trying to build them into, you know, shape and get them ready to be productive as the season progresses. It's a deep team.
Yeah.
And they're not a big team, right? You think back to 2 years ago when the Phoenix Suns made a run to the NBA Finals. You know, round one, they had to play against the Los Angeles Lakers, and they had a massive team at the time. You know, Marc Gasol, Andre Drummond, Anthony Davis. Then they played the Nuggets, and then they played this team that has that Ty Lue philosophy of 5 out. They're going to a million wing defenders: Rocco, Norman Powell, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Luke Kennard. It just keeps going and going and going on how many wing defenders that these guys have. And that's what was one thing that I really appreciated about the Phoenix Suns is they imposed their will tonight. They said, you're going to play that small ball shit. You know, we're going to have Jock Landell out there. He's going to be our biggest guy at 6'11", and we're going to impose our will. We're not going to succumb to you trying to just small ball us to death. And because of that, because of those one and dones, they took the Clippers out of their game and ultimately built that 20-point lead going into the half.
Yeah, and they just held on to it. And the Clippers, even going into this game, I knew they would just have their own issues. And I'm not going to take anything away from this game where I'm just like, oh, these are the Clippers, like they suck. It's not like a thing where you're watching the Lakers, you're like, oh, like this team falling apart. Like they can't even win a game against anybody this year.
Yeah.
The Clippers will find their way. It's just such a weird situation with them. But they have their defense still, and they have kind of like, the thing with Coach Lou, where everyone believes in him as a coach. So they're kind of just sitting there. They're kind of relaxing. They're not taking these games too seriously. I don't think the Suns really are. Like it's of course they want to win the game, but it's just like the Suns already have that chemistry, man. That just is like built. And like Eddie was saying, like the Clippers just have to play. They have to play to prove themselves. All right. Enough talk about the team on the paper.
Yep.
The names look good, but you guys got to play. But once they do, they will be scary. I'm excited though, because tonight we were I think I picked them to lose this game too. I picked the Suns to lose this game because of last game, but
yeah,
I forget how well they can bounce back like last season.
Well, and you're starting to see a lot of chemistry from the second team unit as well. And I think that that's vital to the success of this team, because that's our biggest question mark, right? Is the bench. Like, how is this bench going to perform? And tonight was kind of the first night in which the entire team was healthy, right? Cameron Johnson gets a start. I didn't think he was going to start. But Cameron Johnson gets the start. Landry Shamet's back.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see kind of truly what Monty Williams' vision is relative to those rotations. And, one of the first things when it comes to like player drops that I want to talk about is a guy who's not only stolen all of Dario Saric's minutes, but he's also stolen my heart.
Jesus, this is a nice limo.
Yes, it is. Now suck my
Jock. Landell.
So Jock Landell in this game, plenty of minutes played. He played 17 minutes, and it feels like more. But 17 minutes, he had 9 points on 4 of 8 shooting. He had 10 total rebounds. In 17 minutes, he posted a 9 and 10 in this game, 1 assist. And, it begs the question, and I see some of the Jamsters are asking it in the chat. Christopher Stewart asks it. He goes, what's going on with Dario? Matthew, what's going on with Dario?
I don't know. And I saw him on the bench, and I feel a little bit bad because he's sitting there, and he looked like he's just looking at other fans. Like, he's just like, what is going on? He's having a hard time with it because he obviously wants to play. But Jock is just that much better. Like, he is just so much better than what Dario would bring us. Even passing wise, the way that Jock was playing tonight, it just reminded me. Is it Jock? Why do I say Jock? Like he's
I don't know,
French
like
or something.
Jock, like he's the dog from Lady and the Tramp. He's Australian.
Yeah.
Jack.
It doesn't even
Jock
make
Landell.
Yeah, suck my Jock. All right.
Yeah,
he was basically like the ball boy tonight underneath the rim, like giving these guys second looks. Like it was just he puts himself under the basket in great positioning to get any kind of board, to make an effort. His dunks too, man. When he dunks and starts screaming, he's like ferocious. Like I love that, man. Like we need that coming off the bench. He does everything that Dario. I don't want to compare it that way. I was gonna say he does everything that Dario does, but he does it better. But I kind of wanted to say like he can do what Ayton does, but not as good, right? Like he can be in the league. He can't. I don't think he should be the Suns starting center, but I think he has the opportunity to be that kind of guy. Like because like McGee's a starting center right now, right? Jock, I feel like can be on those teams that there's just no one out there. He can be the 5. He can play 30 minutes a game as long as he doesn't get into foul trouble. Because tonight, I feel like he actually played some real minutes. Like we actually got, because I was going to look up his minutes the last few games, but like how many did he even play? I was going to say because I think they were like below 15,
both, but he also
right?
had like 4 fouls in both. So that was the issue. Is he had foul trouble. So again,
10 minutes and 14 minutes. It's
Yeah.
tonight 17, so it's going to continue to bloom as long as he can stay out
as
of
long
foul
as
trouble.
he stays out of foul trouble, because he's a highly active player. So generally what happens with those highly active players is they come in and their motor's going so much that sometimes they can't turn it off. And that comes out in the form of shooting fouls at times. But you look at him and I swear he eats his food off the glass, right? Because he lives down there. He's constantly fighting on the boards. When you're in transition, he just runs right to the paint and plants himself. And that's one thing I love. I love his paint presence. And, he makes it easy for himself in the fact that when his teammates are driving to the rim, like they know he's going to be around there somewhere because that's just where he lives. And he still does stretch the floor a little bit. You take a look at tonight, and he jacked up a couple threes again, and he was 0 for 2, but he was, he still has that aspect of his game just enough to where you have to respect it just enough to where, it will stretch the defense just a little bit. But, it sucks for Dario because we're fans of Dario and kind of what he does and the lunch pail mentality that he has. But everything that Dario does, Jock Landell does 10 times better. He can actually dunk the ball. He jumps. He rebounds. And it's like when he rebounds the ball, he rebounds the ball. It's not like he has to tip it 6 times, get it to himself, fall on the ground, shove somebody out of the way on the way down, smoke a pack of ciggies on the way down. C. Buxtabar says it in the chat. He says, Dario's going to have to put the cigs down to get in the game. I think that's kind of where we're at with Dario. And that's okay. If Dario Saric becomes like your 14th player off the bench, guess what? I think you're doing okay.
Yeah. No, you definitely are. And he had that move too tonight where it was like the little pick and roll, or no, it wasn't a pick and roll. He just had the ball on the perimeter, and he faked it, a little pass to whatever guard was on the floor, and he kind of just rolled to the rim. He was wide open, but he had someone that actually met him at the rim. But that kind of situation, Dario would actually maybe miss a layup. He might pass it out. He might get fouled in that situation. But Jock, when he gets to the rim, I'm like, wait, is he going to finish? Like, I'm like, oh my God, like he finished and laid the ball in. I'm like, this is awesome to have. Like, that is just, I'm just saying, like, I'm not used to seeing that
for
as
a backup center. That's fantastic to have.
Yeah.
Harry Pat Venus says in the chat, asks, will Dario be involved in a future Jay Crowder trade? What do you think, Matthew?
Oh, I think so.
I think
it
so
would
too.
Be just because I think the way the Suns organization is, I know Jay is leaving in a bad note, but that's his own deal. I think the way that they treat these players now is like kind of like Popovich, what he did to Jock. There you go. I'm just going to call him Jock the whole time. Give him to a team that actually can, play him and use him, and that's winning a team. I feel like we can treat him that way to where we can trade Dario so he can play minutes somewhere else because he's not going to get a lot of minutes here. So it would make sense for them to trade him for that reason.
Well, it does. And the other reason it makes sense is because both him and Jay are expiring contracts. And collectively, they make about $20 million a year. So if you're looking for an opportunity to try to upgrade in some way, shape, or form, and that's what James Jones is doing right now. He's playing the long game. Everybody is wondering what's up with Jay. Is he going to be here? Is he going to eventually come back? Is he gone? Just because he wants to leave doesn't mean you just instantly trade him for pennies on the dollar. That's something Ryan McDonough would have done. I don't want to be here. Okay, Greg Monroe, come on over, Greg. Come on. You suck, but he said he didn't want to be here, So it's like he's playing the long game. And unfortunately, Dario Saric could potentially be one of the people who, if there's an opportunity to create a transaction, it would help make sense to do that. So we'll see what happens moving forward with Dario. We'll see if it's also, this is another matchup thing we're talking about a little on the last podcast. It's situational, right? Like you're playing against the Clippers, a team that likes to 5 out. Guess what? Dario does not survive in that kind of concept. We didn't see a lot of Dario in the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago for that exact reason.
Yeah, we do love him, but it just makes sense. And if he's out there, it's one of the things where like, okay, when's he coming out? Like when Jock's in there, I'm like, wait, don't ever take this guy out. I don't want him out. I want him to play with the first and second unit. He can play with both of them. Ooh.
Yeah, well, and that's the question you posed on Twitter. Is he a starting center?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, okay, so hypothetically, if DA ever got traded in the past 2 years, which they've always talked about him being on the block, I just think Jock is that guy that would come. Dude, I'm gonna
call him Landell.
No, Jock. He's that guy that could be the 5 on a team like the Suns have, kind of, if DA wasn't there. If like they were to trade like for Kevin Durant or something, that would have happened. Jock is like the perfect 5 to play with that starting. I think with that starting lineup, if you were to have like KD in there, I just think he's that guy. You can just put him in there. He won't have to play like 40 minutes, but he's a good starting center, I think, from what I'm seeing. And it's only been 3 games. All right.
Yeah.
So chill the fuck out.
This
right?
is like overreaction corner. Yeah. I definitely think he has the talent to be a starting center in like Charlotte. Yes, that's correct. I don't think he has the ability to be
Yeah.
starting center for this team. I
No,
think
not
DeAndre
currently.
DeAndre Ayton is leaps and bounds better than he is,
Oh,
but
yes.
he does have a motor, and that's why we knew joining this team that he would have the effect that he's having is because he has a motor, and we value that. It's people who
Yeah.
don't have a motor who really drive us crazy, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
There
That's
you
the
go.
worst.
Big Dick Booker. All right, Devin Booker tonight, once again showing up and showing out. 35 points on 21 shots taken, 5 of 9 from beyond the arc, only 4 from 4 from the free throw line. So generally when you see a line like 35 points, you're thinking he got to the line like he did last time. I think he shot nine free throws against the Portland Trailblazers. Only 4 tonight, had 4 assists. Big Dick Booker, man, doing it again. You take a look now, so 61 plus 35. He scored 96 total points on the season. He's averaging 32 points a game to start the season, Matthew.
Yeah, and I'm selfish. I want him to continue to get over 30.
Oh, me too.
He started out so well tonight, and I was kind of like, oh, because he kind of dropped off a little bit. He was missing some shots, and he was kind of missing Ayton at some parts during the game where Ayton's wide open again. I'm like, please don't start doing this. Where Ayton's down there and there's a mismatch, but he doesn't lob it over to him. There were things like that was happening, but I'm like, dude, 35 is kind of a sneaky one towards the end. I know he finished the game really well, had a nice 3.
Yeah.
But he had that nice dunk. He kind of took over in the 4th. So it was kind of a sneaky 35, but maybe that's the way he is now. Maybe he's just a sneaky 30-plus point game guy, and I love that. I want him to average 30 points a game this year. Like I want 29, 30. I just think he's at that level in his career currently where he needs to get that. And he has to have it. And it's going to be that thing where it's just going to be so easy for him now. Because I'm telling you, dude, he was missing there for a while. And then all of a sudden he has 35.
Well, it's just it's his efficiency. That's the key. You know, he can go missing for a while. You don't need a ton of volume for him to score. And that's always kind of been the MO for Devin Booker, is he's going to find a way to put points in the basket and do it in a variety of different ways. The fact that he was doing it from beyond the arc with such efficiency, again, 5 for 9 from beyond the arc. I mean, that's a fantastic performance from Devin Booker. Doing all the other things as well, you know, being that junkyard dog, being the aggression, the guy talking shit to the fans. You know, we love that. We love to have that kind of player on our team. And, you know, like you said, sneaky 35, I'm okay with it. That's what you need from him, and we're going to need it. And I'm just like you, Matthew. I am greedy. I am greedy as fuck. I want as much as I can from Devin Booker every night because I want him to break TC's record. Like, it's one of those like low-key things that I've just always wanted to happen. No one in this franchise has averaged over 27.9 points in a season.
Yeah, and he needs to be a no-doubt all-star starter.
Yes.
And he needs to be a no-doubt first-teamer.
Yes.
He already made that, so there shouldn't be any kind of like sway to another player. If he puts up those stats, the winning will be there. So that's the one thing. The stats aren't always as good as the other players, but they will hopefully this year just to keep him up there.
Yep.
Lights, Cameron, action.
All right, your boy Cameron Johnson did play.
Yeah.
We actually got a full game from him. Yay, Cameron Johnson. And guess what? 4 of 6 from the field, including 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. Had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 11 total points. The one issue with Cameron Johnson, obviously, was the fact that he got into some foul trouble. Of those 11 points, he scored 5 of those in the fourth quarter when he finally could play a little bit more free. What'd you see from your boy tonight, man? How'd you think Cam did in his first game of the season where he played the entire fucking thing?
Well, dude, I can't get over when he walks onto the court, like how good he looks. Like he looks like a freaking man out there now, dude. It's just over the summer, like, you know, in school when all of a sudden you come back to school and like the girl has huge boobs. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, dude, Cameron Johnson's a man now.
Oh, she grew up.
Yeah, never mind. So I honestly think Cameron Johnson, the foul trouble thing is kind of sucky because those fouls were just so stupid. He has a hard time, of course, playing against Paul George, and that's fine. He'll learn. He'll do better. Just staying on the floor is the biggest thing. Those fouls are just so stupid. They don't even need to happen, man. Just continue to avoid those. That way you can stay on there because he's lights out from 3 in a game like this. It's not like we needed it, you know, exactly, but he hit some big threes at times, especially in the fourth. And the corner is like his home now, man. He's like the new PJ Tucker, but a better, just a better all-around player, I feel like. And he makes them like always on one foot. It's always like off balance, nothing but net. He's looking good. I just think that he has a lot to work to do on defensive end. And we knew that. We knew like boxing out, playing defense against the bigger players, but even Paul George, who's smaller than him, guys that know how to actually get to the rim, like just body control on his end needs to work out to where he's not in the way of these players in such a weird angle.
No, I completely agree. And that's the learning process, right? As Blaze
Yeah.
Megatron says, Cam's boobs are massive now.
Fucking huge, yeah. Now he wears 2 shirts now.
He wears
underneath,
2 Hanes shirts
just
now.
to hide them.
Just to hide them. And I see some of the people in the chat, they're like, well, he didn't play a full game. He didn't play in the third quarter because of foul trouble. Yeah, but we're not sitting here at the end of the game being like, oh, shit, he's cramping up or his tailbone hurts. Like,
yeah, that's the one thing.
We got fourth quarter Cam tonight, and I think that's valuable for this team. And that's something that could become a thing. Fourth quarter Cam, Q4 Cam, I could definitely see that becoming a thing, not only on the Phoenix Suns, but here on the podcast. Like, I love seeing Q4 Cam out there playing with aggression, playing to your point, camping up in that 3-point corner pocket and stroking them down, right? And again, that's going to be the biggest challenge for him is he is somebody who has not played against the first team units, and they're going to target him. The opposition's going to target him because they know that he's somebody who kind of has an affinity for fouls. When you're a bench player, that doesn't really matter, right? Like you get like 3-4 fouls and you go to sit back down because you weren't supposed to be playing for a while. But guess what? Like, he's got to learn as a power forward in this league, you got to foul less because he had his 4th foul with 11:04 left in the third quarter. And that's the learning curve. Like that's learning how to live with those boobs, right? Like, do you get a training bra? Is it like a front one or a back one? I don't know. I don't know how they work, but like that's what he's trying to figure out now is how do I get used to having them titties?
Exactly. And the fourth quarter guy, it's going to be a thing. It was a thing in the playoffs a couple of years ago. He was hitting huge shots in the playoffs. So he's been there before. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. And I think that as long as he stays healthy, man, great things are going to happen for him in this more cohesive unit. His twin played pretty well together today too. And twins. There you go. I did your little twins drop. Man. There you go.
The warden.
Oh, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. He had that great sequence where he blocked PG-13 from behind, went down on the other side of the court, got an offensive board, and then put it back. Like some physicality from Mikal Bridges is what we saw tonight in a game where he only had 7 points. He was 3 of 9 from shooting, or 3 of 9 shooting, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc, and he had 4 assists, 4 rebounds. But he had that block shot. And I think that, again, when you play a team like the Clippers, a wing-heavy team, he's got to be very good. I'm going to be very interested to look at the advanced statistics to see how he fared from a defensive rating standpoint. But I think he did a really good job with the switches, with the pestering, and with some of the physicality because the Clippers they're a big wing team, right? Like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Marcus Morris. These are big dudes. They're thick-ass mofos. And he held his own, I feel.
He did. Offensively, I don't know what's really there. I think Code said, he says Bridges was playing soft as F, which is true offensively. Defensively, he's always going to be there. I think offensively, though, it seemed like it was kind of like last year's Cam. Like it just that certain times where he was just so hesitant in the lane, like he would go down there and he only had 1 turnover. But a lot of times he had a hard time like controlling the ball in there. A lot of the Suns did. Once you win the paint, they kept losing the ball. It seemed like all the time. But he just needs to be more aggressive again and shoot a lot more in the paint, get to the rim more. Like he just needs to continue to do that. But I really do think like if he is just so focused defensively, I don't really care anymore. He's going to put up like the stat lines that Josh Jackson used to, like the 7 points, 13 points a night, like the 6 rebounds, stuff like that. But defensively, if you're going up against Kawhi and Paul George, it's fine. Like I'd rather have just that effort defensively because I think that's where he kicks himself the most. Is if he's not performing defensively, then he's going to get upset. And we don't want that. I think he can just focus on that. Offensively, at some times, he can be aggressive, but it's just so hit and miss. And I hope that's not a thing all season, but I guess if it is,
it probably
I can't complain, really. Maybe he's just an elite defender, man. I mean, what else do you want? Like,
that's what he is. He's a 3-and-D guy. We want him to be more like Scottie Pippen. And in the first couple of games, we saw more of that Scottie-esque quality, if you will, right? Like aggressive in transition. There wasn't a ton of transition in this game. if I look at the box score, let's see, fast break points, 7 for the Suns, 11 for the Clippers. So it's not like these are two teams that are running up and down the court, in fast break and transition. Total turnovers in this game. The Clippers had 15, which led to 18 Suns points and 13 and 12 for the Suns. So the turnovers were there, the opportunity was there, but Mikal just wasn't. And I think it's because they have some big wing defenders, so they disrupt him when he's on offense. They disrupt him defensively. So in a game like this, you go, okay, we beat the shit out of them. Cam, did we need him to go crazy? No. When we play against Portland, a team, or even who did we play in the season opener?
Dallas.
Even a team like Dallas. They don't have they don't have as many physical wing defenders, and that's where he can excel offensively and take advantage of some of those matchups. How happy do you think he is that the Philadelphia Phillies are in the World Series, Matthew, playing the Houston Astros?
Dude, yeah, I was looking at the score. I'm not going to watch that shit. Like, they're down 3-0. I'm not going to watch them lose to the Astros, who always kick their ass every year. I'm sick of seeing it. It's the same thing. And then Phillies, I'm excited that they look so good. Like, their uniforms, their helmets, everything looks good. Like, I don't know. I'm excited for them because they just look good to be in there. But I'm not going to watch it.
Did you see the Bryce Harper home run today?
I saw the one that was the opposite field one.
Yeah, the Oppo one.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the one. That was a 2-run shot that put them ahead, and they ultimately beat the Padres. And he just hit it and just watched it. And I mean, I think
it barely cleared though, too, right?
Yeah, but it went. But it's just Phillies versus Yankees in the World Series.
Versus Astros,
What did I say? Did I say Yankees?
Yeah, dude.
That's Yankees, so 2009. I'm sorry,
man. All right.
I'm
done with baseball. No more baseball.
Philadelphia. Well, let's do a drop for a guy who earned it tonight.
Craig, I wouldn't feel comfortable lending you $200 without a job.
Tory Craig tonight, 24 and a half minutes played, 3 of 7 from the field, 2 of 5 from beyond the arc, had 9 total rebounds and 8 points. I'll give him his flowers tonight, man. I thought Tory Craig played a great game, and it reminded me of the value that Tory Craig had with this team when we played against the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. He was valuable in that series. He was valuable tonight.
Yeah, he was awesome tonight. This is like making up for everything that he kind of missed throughout the last season and this season so far. It was Tory Craig that we kind of remember hitting those threes. He's always left wide open in the corner, nailing those, but just like the second efforts, anytime, no one's really paying attention to him too much, trying to box him out, he can sneak in there, get some offensive rebounds, which that's like his game, man. Like, he was doing everything he's supposed to be doing. And every time we needed an extra effort, if Jock's not out there, he looks good with Jock, and he looks good, obviously, with the first unit too tonight. But he's the guy that's going to give us the second chances again. We'll see if this keeps up, man, because this looked awesome. This is the way that we want him to perform, obviously. Yeah. But this is just the missing piece. It's kind of the way to hold these 10 to 20 point leads. You need a guy that comes off the bench and does stuff like this that could just irritate the team and get those guys second chances. And if he's playing this way, dude, it's very, very exciting because he might be jam start contender. Who knows?
Whoa.
Who knows?
Dude? I'll tell you this. Yeah, and you're right. It's clear that the whole team was healthy tonight. Yeah. Right. So Monty Williams showed his hand on what his expectation is on what he's going to do with our rotations. And Cam Johnson got in foul trouble. His backup power forward's Tory Craig. Good, bad, or indifferent right now. That's reality. And we need to hope and pray that we get more of these performances from Craig. This is a game in which he didn't play up to the expectation level of his jersey number, which is 0. He played way beyond that. Again, 8 points, 9 rebounds, plays some really good defense. He's physical enough to play against those wings that the Clippers have. So Blaze Megatron is one of our elite jamsters. If you'd like to become an elite jamster on YouTube, simply click the join button on the desktop. I don't think it's available on mobile. But he says, boo, Voida, give him the juice drop. Okay, simply because you are an elite jamster and he earned it.
What's up?
There you go. You can't say that we are a podcast of, by, and for the people, man.
Dude, I guess he earned it already. It's funny because Shamet really had to work for his, but I guess Craig just gets it right away after one game.
Yeah, right? One game. Well, I'm not even going to play the Shamet drop. Okay.
All I can say is Sham.
See how I didn't say wow? Because it's not wow.
Yeah, you know what? I was trying to itch my back too. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. It's the season debut for Landry Shamet. 2 of 5 from the field, 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. Shot a couple free throws. Defensive rebound. He did have that one. I don't see it. Does it count as a steal? Yeah, they got a no. Did they put a steal in there? I don't see a steal. Oh, he did get the one steal. He had a great steal on the interior. But Landry Shamet is back now. 2 of 5. You know, if you think about 2 of 5, mathematically speaking, that's 40%. That's what we want from him, right? Were you happy with his 2 for 5?
Yeah, I liked it. He seemed kind of out of sync with the offense a few times, but just getting yelled at like, hey, like move over here. You're not supposed to be in that part. Whatever the fuck they say on the court, you know? But you can tell something's kind of off when you're watching that. But he's fine. He didn't really handle the ball. I know we're really looking forward to him kind of being the point guard, maybe coming off the bench. But tonight he was just kind of standing there, just letting the offense kind of flow around. He would get the ball once in a while, but he hit some good shots and they weren't like forced. It was nice, like kind of an easy going kind of night tonight for Shamet. Maybe he can be a guy that can handle the ball more, but right now I kind of like this, you know. I know he's getting paid a lot, but if he does go 2 for 5 and hits a couple big threes, that's not bad. That's not bad for me. I think it's okay. As long as he's not fucking up, like turn the ball over and stuff, then that's good.
Well, that's the key. You know, you can't have him out there turning the ball over and you know, again, like in this concept, if you will, and he's making what, 9 million, you know, so
yeah,
he makes 10 and there's some options and guarantees later in his contract. So he's not getting paid a ton. So I think price for value paid, like, yeah, he is where he's at. Seeing as everyone's healthy, I knew he wasn't going to get any opportunities to kind of run the offense in any way, shape, or form. But that is a possibility with him moving forward. I was just happy to see him out there hitting a couple shots. One of the threes I felt was kind of big because it was kind of a slump buster, if you will. It's like the Clippers were starting to put a little run together. Then boom, he hit a 3 and it kind of pushed the lead back to like 14 or 15 at the time. And I was like, okay, that's what we need from Shamet. Hopefully as time progresses, you know, we're going to see a little bit more and we're going to get, you know, like when Shamet gives you like a 12-point plus performance, like that is a stellar performance from Landry Shamet. So knowing that he came out tonight and he scored the 8 points, like I give that a B, maybe a B plus. Especially in his first game back. Like that's what you need. You need him to shoot 40% from 3 and good things will happen. Hell, great things will happen for this team.
Yeah, slump buster, that's perfect. I love that because that's what we need. That's those big threes that like kind of put you back up. Team's coming back. It's like 11 points. Like we don't want that. Would put it back up to 14. That's what we need from him, man. It was good to see him hit those, right?
Here comes the Payne.
We saw plenty of Cameron Payne tonight. He played 14 minutes, but he had 10 points in those 14 minutes. And in those 14 minutes, he shot the ball 11 times. So we talk about efficient book, making 35 points on 21 shots. It took 10 points. It took 11 shots for Cam Payne to get 10 points. He had 2 turnovers, 2 assists in this game. But I felt like his aggression, his activeness, like that's what we want from Cam Payne. We want quick Cam Payne. That's what hurt him last year and what really set in forth, at least in my mind, a negative connotation. It's like, listen, we want somebody who can be a facilitator, but we want somebody who can be effective behind Chris Paul. And last season, he wasn't even effective because his primary superpower, if you will, his speed was taken from him. We saw a little bit more of that speed today. We saw a little bit more of that aggression, good, bad, or indifferent. It's what we got from Cameron Payne. 1 of 3 from beyond the arc, and he was taking long-ass threes today, too.
He was, and you know I'm okay with it. If he were to get assists off his missed layups, so dude, he would actually probably get a double every night.
Yeah,
like those layups. So I don't know what he's doing. I know Eddie pointed out where it's like, you know what, he throws it up there. It's kind of good because Jock can go get it because he knows he can, so he kind of throws it up there. I don't know if that's a thing that he does on purpose because Jock right now on the team is the best offensive rebounder we have. So if he throws it up there, it's like, does it matter like if it's going to go in or not because the guy can get the rebound and put it in? I still don't like those layups. I think he's just like kind of fading away from everything too much. He's making it too hard on himself a lot of times, which he is a smaller player trying to get over those big guys. You have to do that, but the angles and stuff are just really weird. They don't ever look good. It's just he's like chucking them up there. It was an okay game from him. I just think that he needs to be a little bit more consistent with those layups, and not every like possession when he comes out there has to be him driving to the lane.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? He did have a nice pass to DA tonight, and I was really shocked to see that. But it's just I'm still not very happy with it. I'm not. I don't think he's doing a really good job, man. I think he needs to chill out a little bit on those layups, dude. I'm serious. Like that's just a weird thing. It's like he's like a chucker from the layup line, dude. It's really weird.
Yeah, and again, it's like it's for anybody, it's a high percentage shot. For Cameron Payne, it's not, because he makes it difficult, because he has to make it difficult, right? Like as you mentioned, he's a smaller guy, so the angles he has to throw the ball up off the glass are really tough. So where it's normally like 50 to 60% for somebody down there, it becomes like 30% chance that he's going to make it. And it's just, I don't know. It's frustrating to watch. I mean, he had that one missed layup that was really frustrating. I think that's kind of what predicated this conversation, is the fact that he had that missed layup where, come on, campaign. Like, you know, he's making some good shots. He's got the aggression. I think that he's really, he's got to be valuable for this team. We need him to be valuable for this team. Yeah. Monday Morning Quarterback says in the chat, like, his defense is much better. And again, that's what this team thrived on tonight, was their defensive intensity. And Cameron Payne was a huge part of that. And everybody we've mentioned thus far was a huge part of that. And I'm appreciative of that. But if you look up and down the box score, there's one player who does not have a positive plus minus on the entire team. It's Cam Payne, who was a 0. Not one player. He's the only one. So in his 14 minutes played, 14 and a half minutes played, it was a 0 from plus minus, which we know is like not an end all be all stat. It's like a per 36. You have to take it with a grain of salt and only use it when it benefits your argument, like I'm doing right now. What else you got? Who else? Oh, you know what? We haven't even talked about this guy. The point guard. Right, here we are again. 32 minutes played for the point guard. He had 11 assists, 7 points. He had 1 steal, 3 of 11 from the field, 1 of 8 from downtown. What do we do with Chris Paul? How do we digest that? Because again, 7 points, 11 assists, and the Phoenix Suns win by what? Almost 17 points?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't hit panic. You can hit panic, but do you hit panic? I guess that's the question.
With his shot, no, I think he's getting the looks. It's just not falling right now. I'm not worried about that. It's his passing, man. His passes are terrible. How many turnovers did he have tonight? Did he have
only a couple?
Sorry.
Only a couple. Yeah.
But they're barely getting to the players. They're so close to being turnovers almost all the time, it seems like. And he's not really setting up anybody for good looks. Like he had 11 assists, but I swear there's so many plays out there, man, where it's just it's almost like he's throwing the game sometimes in some passes. I'm like,
he's not.
I know, but it looks bad, and he just needs to make that more crisp. Then he'll be fine. I'm not worried about his shot though, because those will fall. He's getting good looks. He's getting to his spots. I feel like he's wide open from 3. He'll have those games where pretty soon he'll have a game where he puts up a lot of points. I'm just worried about the passing and how he's out there facilitating the ball right now, because it doesn't look good. I know 11 assists. Of course.
8 rebounds too. 8 rebounds.
Yeah, but there's just something about those. It's like a little bit slow, man. Maybe that's one thing that's going to come into he can come into his groove pretty soon with that. I hope, because that's going to be big, dude. We just need that consistency where those passes are there. I don't know what he's doing.
I'll tell you this. We are 4% of the way through the season. So if Chris Paul is going for 7 and 11 and 8 and we're winning by 17, I'm absolutely fine with it. Again, I think that I think you mentioned on the last pod where it's like maybe he's working himself into the season. I think 100% he's working himself into the season. 100%. So I think that he's when you look at the stat line, you see the missed shots. That's where people are going to overreact. I don't want anyone to think that I'm overreacting, because I'm not. I just, he's picking and choosing his spots. He's getting some. The Clippers were literally inviting him to shoot open threes, and that's what he did. And to your point, Matthew, that shot's going to fall. And if teams are going to start to do that, they're like, oh yeah, no, he's washed. Don't guard him from the perimeter. They're going to learn real quick. They're going to pay for that. So again, I think it's highly beneficial that his usage rate has dropped for this team, because it allows the other members of his team to increase their usage, which is beneficial for this team. It wasn't Chris Paul shooting free throws against Portland on Saturday night or Friday night or whatever fucking night it was. It was DeAndre Ayton. That's the way it should be. Growth. We're growing. So when you see CP3 have these kind of have these kind of games, look at everyone else around him. Like, they're thriving. So 11 assists, 12 assists last game. I mean, he's probably leading the league in assists already. That's all you want from the point guard right now. That justifies his contract. And again, how many minutes did he play in this game?
31, you said?
32.
32.
Perfect. Right where we
It doesn't
want.
seem like he's even out there that long either. Like, it
No,
seems like
because he's not fully engaged,
he's
right?
not,
Like,
dude.
he's on the side. You know, again, the possessions are occurring. The other members of the team are trying to figure it out. And if they get stuck on a play, then they'll dish it out to him, and then he'll facilitate something with 8 seconds left. Like, that's the way the offense should run. And especially if you want growth, and that's exactly what's occurring with this team right now.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Right,
We're going to talk about the other dude.
Insert the other dude, DeAndre Ayton. We took this long in the podcast because it was kind of a ho-hum game from him. 13 points. He had 8 rebounds in this game. He had 5 personal fouls. So it's another one of those games where the whistles just weren't necessarily going his way. So we didn't see a lot of DeAndre Ayton. I'm not, again, I don't think in any way, shape, or form I'm going to be critical of his performance tonight.
No, I'm not. I mean, it was kind of just one of those things where I feel like if he really got involved early in the game, that it would have been a different outcome. I think he just wasn't really involved. They went a different kind of way tonight. You know what I mean? Booker kind of just took over, but he wasn't really giving the ball a lot down there, and that's fine. It's fine. I mean, there were times where I said Booker before there was Ayton in front of him, and he just wouldn't lob him the ball. So, but they are fighting him on the lobs a lot more this year already, where they just throw it up to the rim, then he can go get it, especially on the mismatches. But the thing is, like with Zubac, it's when he plays against Zubac, I always feel like everyone's always like, oh, Zubac would start the season like this guy, like center. That's awesome. But he just seems like a poor man's version of Ayton. Like, I feel like Ayton can really handle him better than anybody else can. I don't know.
He annoys Zubac a lot. He really annoys him.
He really does. I don't think he really has a chance against Ayton. But I think if we just needed something from Ayton a little bit more, we probably would have got it. But we just didn't need it. And you can kind of tell in the fourth where Ayton was kind of just not lollygagging, but he was just kind of just, doing his own thing out there.
Yeah.
He was just out there. He just knew we had the win, which is fine right now. But yeah, I don't know, man. It was just because it's a weird game from him.
Yeah, again, he was pestering Zubac. That's what he needs to do. He looked pretty solid early on, but as the game progressed and the fouls kind of racked up on him, it took him out of his rhythm. And that's what happens with any NBA player. Like if Devin Booker had 5 fouls tonight, he wouldn't have 35 points. He wouldn't have the rhythm in an effort to execute what he did tonight. So there's no world where I'm going to sit there, I'm going to look at a stat line and go, oh, what a horrible game by DeAndre. No, it was a serviceable game. He did what he needed to do. And again, the team won by 17. The challenge with DeAndre tonight, though, is he was the subject of our Suns Jam poll.
The Suns Jam session.
Bet on it. Bet on it.
Bet on it.
Bet on it.
Bet on it. Brought to you by Sahara Bets, the newest place to win some money.
So if you don't follow us on Twitter, please do. What we'll do every game day is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a jam session poll out there in the morning, and we're going to take a look at one of the Sahara Bets lines, and we're going to ask you guys, like, hey, should we bet the over on this? Should we bet the under on this? And if you follow Sahara Bets and you reply in the chat with what you think is going to actually occur, as well as voting on it, you have an opportunity to win a Suns prize pack. 88.7% of our voters voted that he would hit the over on points, which was 18.5 tonight, Matthew. 18.5. He hit the under in this one. And everybody who commented, again, shout out to everyone who commented, but guess what? Only one person got it right, and that was Trevor Paxson. So at TR Paxson on Twitter, you are our Sahara Bets winner. You're going to win a Suns prize pack, so we're going to have you get in contact with them and hook that up. So thank you for voting on that poll. And again, make sure you follow that and follow us every morning on Twitter because we're going to be just dishing out the money, man. That's what it's about. That's what it's about, man. Yeah. And I'll say personally,
under, but like this,
so
he wasn't too sure. So should we
like under, I guess. No? Yeah, we got to. And I'll tell you this: I had a parlay with his points, and I had an alternate on it where it was like 14.5 points. I needed like one more basket from him, and it was like Booker over 25. And son of a bitch, damn it! I'll tell you who's not getting my Jam Star. It's DeAndre Ayton. That's for sure. He's not getting my Jam Star.
Not tonight.
Matthew, you were hanging out somewhere tonight, right?
No.
No?
No.
Should you have been?
Maybe. Oh, yes.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Maybe.
I was.
I'm like, shit, man. You said you were going to do the
Again?
subreddit stakeout
Yeah,
tonight.
like
Fuck.
like last time. Yeah. So I went in there, a little cockeyed, checking out what they were talking about over there, and
What's the
nothing
name
too
of their
crazy.
subreddit?
Oh, I have no idea, man.
Is it like at
I didn't
LA
look at the name.
Clippers or some shit? I don't know.
I didn't look at the name, actually. I just closed it out. So I'll look it up later. I'll text you about it and let you know what it is called.
And then I'll tell everybody next time.
Yeah. Yes, I was in there. They were wishing that Wall and Kawhi were out there to get the offense going. Very low effort from the offense right now. Just, I think when they come out early in the game, you just don't know what you're going to get from this offense right now because you know this is not going to be the starting lineup, right?
Yeah, that's got to
So
be
it's kinda
frustrating as
weird.
a Clippers fan, though, right?
Yeah.
Like you got John Wall, you got Kawhi Leonard,
Mhm.
and like we didn't see Kawhi Leonard till the second quarter. Which
Yeah, it's like 6-minute mark. That's when he comes in. It's like every second quarter and fourth quarter he comes at the 6-minute mark.
yeah,
So that just throws everything off.
that's
feel like.
got to be tough. But
Yeah.
John Wall though tonight, man, like
Yeah.
God, I forgot how fast he was, man.
Yeah, he someone actually commented, "How do we snag prime John Wall?" He looked like old John Wall sometimes, right?
Except he was bricking a lot of shots. Although prime John Wall used to brick a lot of shots, but from a speed standpoint, like he starts going downhill, and you're just like, "Fuck, man."
Yeah. No, he got to the rim and he got through a couple guys, which was really surprising. I mean, if he can do that all year, that's actually a weapon. It was one of the things where he was picked up this year, and a lot of people were kind of just like, I don't know, but I was high. I was like, this actually makes sense for this. If you were to go to the Lakers, it wouldn't work out, but Clippers, it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like anybody that goes to the Lakers sucks.
By the
what
way,
else?
Parker Hines says in the chat, "Who's that guy on the right? Your disguise for subreddit stakeout, spot on."
Yeah, it's the
Doesn't even
whole Clark
recognize
Kent
you.
thing, right?
Yeah.
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 Yep.
What
So
else
now
did
I'm
they say?
Superman. They also said, who the fuck is this Jock Landell? Nobody's
Jock.
cooking
So
us.
even when they typed it, it was even in French
Jock.
as well.
Yeah, and they actually had like a little,
the
those
little
cigarette things, like from Europe.
Yeah, like Dario.
Yeah, like Cruella de Vil.
Yes, good call, good pull.
Yeah, Landell, nobody. That's what they called him. Why is he cooking us? So that was the thing that was going on, and I would be saying the same thing. I would be saying the same exact thing, dude.
Like, who's this crazy son of a bitch who's rebounding everything and looking like a Paul brother out there?
There was a comment in there. It was really weird. It was about Shamet's aunt. It said,
What?
I don't know if I can
Oh yeah,
read
he
this
used to
without
be a
laughing.
Clipper. He used to be a Clipper.
Yeah. I don't know if I can read this without laughing. Shamet's aunt cooked me on Instagram one time when I said we made a good trade ditching him for Kennard. I stay true to my word, bitch. That's so I'm just like, okay, there's a whole history there. Just summed up into like one comment, man. Well, yeah, I guess they like Luke. Yeah, they like Luke Kennard.
Luke Kennard, by the way, he was out there throwing some AEW shit, right? Like
he was. Yeah, he was.
You know, he threw that elbow into Jock Landell, and then he did the same thing to Chris Paul. Like, what a son of a bitch! I want to find his aunt on Instagram and tell her that she's a bitch.
Whoa, what?
I don't know. Curveball. Didn't know where to go.
Yeah, they like him there though. So yeah, that was it. That was only a couple comments went in there and came out.
Wow. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is your
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
All right. Sponsored by nobody. Mario Lopez. I like what Mario Lopez brought up in the chat. We put up 42 threes today. Hopefully this trend continues. Yeah, the Phoenix Suns shot 15 of 42, 35.7%. Which was 10 more shots than the Clippers, who went 9 of 21 for 28.1%. Is that something you want to see more from this team? Is more 3-point shooting?
Yeah, just continue to go. Then I feel like they only made the ones that were difficult, like the ones that the closeouts were hard. Because I think the Clippers did a good job. And actually, it was pointed out in the subreddit stakeout that the contested threes and all those shots were going in for the Suns early. It did seem like that. It did seem like the Clippers did a good job on that end. But yeah, I want to see more threes. I want to see Ayton hit. Just threw one up there today. Jock, of course, too. He will miss them all the time, just like Ayton. But keep doing it, I guess. One of them will go in and will feel great.
Well, again, I just think that in order for our second team unit to be successful, it's like they have to truly personify 3 and D. Like they've got to hit threes and they've got to play some defense. Last question before we dish out the Jam Star and talk about the game that's coming up on Tuesday. Why is it whenever we play against Marcus Morris, he becomes prime Tracy McGrady? This dude tonight, once again, as per usual, 10 of 14 from the field for 22 points. You look at the starting lineup for the Clippers. He's the only one. I'm sorry. Paul George went 4 of 11, had 16 points, but 2 points from Ivica Zubac, Zubats Shakur. Norman Powell had 8 points. Reggie Jackson, big old fat 0. John Wall had 17. Kawhi Leonard had 11. I mean, fucking Marcus Morris is their leading scorer. Like,
yeah,
you have all those names on that team, and it's freaking him.
It's more frustrating and noticeable when they are actually winning, and especially in the playoffs 2 years ago, because it's one of those things where he hates Devin Booker and has shit on this team with Robert Sarver and Booker. Maybe there's some island that they go to. Who knows? Like, I just feel like maybe that's it. Maybe these Morris twins, we should be on their side. Maybe they actually are the ones that we should be, cheering, because they have their side of the story too. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe I went too far with that. Hopefully there's no island
with the Morrises, the Morai hanging out there. I don't want to go to
or
that
Booker
island.
and Sarver. Yeah.
Yeah. No, please, God. No.
Jam Star of the Game.
All right, Jams, here's a reminder. Subscribe, rate, and review. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button down below. We appreciate it. And let us know in the chat who your Jam Star of the Game is. So, Matthew, I think I went first last time, so you're up.
My turn.
Yes.
I'm gonna go Booker.
Oh,
Big
wow.
dick
Why?
Booker.
Why?
Oh, because he has an island with Sarver. And
That's
they hang out on it. No, he started. You know what? I don't know. I might be too hard. I did point out like the Chris Paul passing thing. Look, I don't look at the stats until we get on this pod. I just go from what I see. All right. But tonight Booker looked fucking great, so that's why.
Okay. Pedro Gonzalez in the chat. Pod after every game. You're new around here, aren't you? Yes.
First time, huh?
After every game. All right. Yes. I'm going to go with what the majority of the Jamsters are saying. Jones and Cincinnati says Big Dick Booker. Kiko says Booker. James Kelly, an elite Jamster, says Big Dick Booker. Ted Lubin says Book. Shauna Liz says Book. Nathaniel Dars says Jock Landell. I'm okay with that. Fabio says Book. Big Dick Book from Alex.
Yeah.
Book. Dude, 35 points for Devin Booker, man. I was about to bust a rhyme, but then I realized I can't. I was born on the same day as Eminem. Doesn't mean I can rap like him. No, Devin Booker was, again, fantastic. Like you said, sneaky 35 tonight. Fantastic performance. Suns win on the amazing performance by Devin Booker. I'm 100% okay with that. So next up for the Phoenix Suns, Tuesday night, 90s night. It's going to be the first time. Yes, it's going to be the first time we see the throwback Starburst jerseys. We're going to get them for the next 2 games. We get them for
sweet.
Yeah, we get them for the Golden State Warriors and then the New Orleans Pelicans after that. So what are you looking for on this one? This is a team that is also 2-1 entering this game. They beat the Sacramento Kings by 5 points tonight. They beat the living shit out of the Lakers in their first game of the season. And in between the two, they lost to somebody.
Do we get a new court too this year? Like, do we have an alternate court? We better.
I don't know. That would be great.
They have to, right?
They got to.
Because they have the teal ones, I think, that are coming out. Who knows? So you would have to have a court with that or something. That would be badass. Yeah. So what are we talking about? Oh, dude. Yeah. So the Warriors are super bored, right? Playing basketball. What did they score? I think Steph had 28 points in the first half tonight against the Kings. Jeez. And they had like 80 something points or something crazy.
89 at halftime.
89. So hopefully they got it all out of their system. But this is I love these early matchups, with these tough teams, because it's just
right off well, that's the West period, man. Everybody's tough.
Exactly. Everyone is tough. But they lost this is the team the Suns have to face, and they're not going to look the same because I think Draymond will probably be traded this season. I feel like that's going to happen. I don't know, man. It's another team where I'm scared. They're going to get the win. I'll go with the win, even though last time I said that we're going to lose to the Clippers. But after tonight, I'm like, who's going to beat the Suns, right?
Well, no, I think this is a win as well because I think that the way that this team plays, they're a finesse team, and this is a team that we can play well against finesse teams. Like teams like the Pelicans are a little bit tougher, I feel, because you have like Jonas Valanciunas. Did you see Zion got hurt again today? He didn't finish the game.
Yeah, he fell on his back, so it was like a new thing. It's probably like a tailbone bruise or something.
Yeah,
like Cam Johnson.
Like Cam Johnson, so he'll be back by Thursday or whenever, or Friday. We play them Friday, but
I hope.
No, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this game. It's gonna be on TNT. It's gonna be the night slate on TNT. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be the Warriors. It's gonna be fun on Twitter. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be firing off here on the podcast afterwards. Those are fun games when we play the Warriors, and you know that you're doing good against the Warriors when their trolls show up in our chat. So. Jamsters, make sure you come and hang out with us after that game because that's going to be a fun one.
Defend us, please.
Defend us, please.
Defend our honor.
Yeah, please, because if it's any of the Locked On Warriors people coming in there, they're like, well, what are these guys? They're just fans. They don't have access to the team. What are they talking about here? So we want to avoid all that. Come show up, show out. It's going to be fun. And dude, to see those Starbursts. Here's the funny thing is like, when's the last time they wore the Starbursts? It was like 1999, I want to say.
Well, they had the black ones, right? During the era where no one watched the Suns, like when Dragic was on the team with Marcus Morris,
I think so. I think they rolled out the black ones.
That's
but like the purple ones, I always like the purple ones better than the black ones. I think it's the perfect balance of all of the jerseys that have ever existed in the history of the Phoenix Suns. What's beautiful about the Sunburst jersey is it's the one that features the perfect balance of purple and orange. Right? It's not an orange jersey. It's not a purple jersey. It's like a purple jersey with a bunch of orange on it. Just looks beautiful. So we're going to see those popping on the TV screens. And for all those fans who are, essentially like, I don't know, 25 and under, this is going to be their real first opportunity to really see these jerseys on the court outside of just seeing old highlights of the 92, 93 Suns or, Sean Marion's rookie year. So it's going to be nice.
Yeah. And Booker loves them too. It's his favorite. He's going to ball again. He get 38 points, right? Yeah. I think he can get 38. He's going to look good, feel good, play good.
Yes.
It's going to be
Deion
good
Sanders,
matchup,
baby.
Man.
So there you go, Jamster. So make sure you join us after that game on Tuesday night. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. You can follow Matthew on Twitter
at Matthew Lissy.
Make sure you stop by brightsideofthesun.com. That's where I do all my writing about the Phoenix Suns. And you can follow the show at Suns Jam on Twitter. Make sure you follow us and follow at Sahara Bets because we're hooking you up. So let's do this.
Yeah,
Suns
and
country, let's ride.
Suns Amsterdam. If you guys actually are in there, make sure that you fill out your stuff and send it back. Waiting on a couple, and also this week you can go in there and vote. There's a ton of shit in there to do right now.
Suns
go in
Amsterdam, check it out.
Go on the forum, go vote. There's a lot of funny things to do. If you go check it out, let me know in the comments in the forum. And if you have any questions at Suns Jams
Jamsterdam. Suns Jamsterdam at gmail.com.
Thank you for selling it, John. And go home and love your family and go to Del Taco.
Del Taco. All right.